I want to bring in my panelists now.
Thank you, Ms. Lal. Sure, definitely. We'll move, on to the panel discussion session. Thank you so much for sharing with us what Flip Learn does and does best. Thank you. So on the panel discussion, the focus is on ways to engage and enhance education experiences. Ms. Lal would be the moderator for this session. And I would like to welcome S.J. Hiremat, Ms. Neeti, and Ms. Shushma today to join us in this session. Unfortunately, Shirisha Ram couldn't join us today. I would ask all the participants, please mute your lines. Thank you. So before we dive in and before Ms. Lal takes over, let me give you a quick round of introduction to our eminent panelists today. Ms. Hiremat is the chairman of Pratham International School. He is an engineering graduate with 10 years of educational experience. Ms. Neeti Mahendra is the principal of DPS Mangalore. She's a product of Bal Bharati School of Delhi and a postgraduate in mathematics from the Miranda House, Delhi University. She has close to 21 years of experience in the education field and is the founder of Edify School at Kanakpura Road. She was awarded by the Rotary South for contribution in the field of education. Under her leadership, Edify School too has been awarded with many awards, and recently she was nominated for CBSE Principals Award by the Ministry of HRD. She is also a master trainee for CBSE's CCE for the Bangalore region. And finally, we have Ms. Shushma Prashant, who serves as the head of curriculum development at Periwinkle Preschools. She's a well-known child psychologist, counselor, and early intervention specialist. Please give them a warm welcome. And Ms. Divya Lal, I hand it over to you to kick off the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nisha.
Thanks.
May I request all my panelists to please switch on their videos? And as we take through this journey, well, we've talked about, in my opening pieces on the presentation, I did talk about how to engage and enhance education experiences. And I'm going to leverage a lot on my esteemed panel to really help everybody in this conversation to add some more value to these discussions starting off. And needless to mention, and at the cost of repetition, like I would say, the learners today of the Generation Z require an engagement which is a different ball game. They're unlike any generation we have seen growing up. And at this cross section, it only creates possibilities for each one of us to evolve to the next level, to maybe make meaningful contributions to the entire learning experience. I'm going to bring in Neeti. Neeti, I would like to ask you, when you look at it from a teacher or an educator's perspective, do you feel it's a bigger challenge than ever it has been in the history of education?
It's a break in the signal. Divya, can you just repeat the question once again?
I will do that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
So, Neeti, I'm saying, is it unprecedented that with this generation, is it a more tougher game to engage? Being an educator.
Sorry, are you dialed in with two devices?
Not really. I'm not dialed in. But I can also hear my echo.
Yeah, there is an echo.
So I'm only from my laptop.
Okay. Could you maybe turn off your audio and turn it on? Just to... I think it's coming from Mahendra, I think. Ma'am, have you
Yeah,
dialed in with two?
No, I don't have, I'm not using any external device, it's only my phone.
Okay, I think now it seems to be better. Okay, Miss Lal, so sorry, ma'am.
Not at all.
I can hear you also echoing. Okay. Niti, did you get the question?
Yes, I got the question now. May I go
Please.
ahead?
Yes,
So you
please.
said, is this generation a little bit more difficult to handle when vis-a-vis the new situations which are cropping up and probably the demands on the field of education? I'll say no, because this has been for every generation. If we see each generation, the previous one felt that the new generation has been very difficult to handle, or their demands have been, or this is unprecedented. Because generation nowadays, probably the definition of a generation would have changed. Earlier, the generation used to be 15, 20 years. Now we say every 5 years the generation is changing. That is because of the growth of technology. So that has been the only difference. Otherwise, all the challenges and all the positives and negatives have remained the same. The entire journey since the education started or the civilization started. So now, am I okay with this answer, or you want me to continue with what are the different?
Niti, I want to hear more from you as a part of this. Is one way to say every generation has found nothing but different. But if you see the leapfrogging as far as the current generation is the highest, if you look at the children today, these are the children who've not seen majority of the things that most of us would have seen while growing up, okay, as a part of the evolution. And when it comes to teachers coming in from a time that all of us have grown up together, how do you feel they are gearing up to stay relevant and to stay connected?
Teachers, if you see this has been a situation where technology was asked to overnight mature into technology groups and then hold classes online. But if you see, the demand has not been a very recent one. Technology was introduced in 1990s into the teaching field in the school education system, and we have been trying, different boards have been trying to train teachers on technology since then. I remember this was in 1998 or 99, I was with MIT School, where we first heard about the ERP system. Now, using an ERP at that time was very new for us. After 20 years almost, it is still new for many of the teachers. It is how you've been exposed to technology. If you are taking a teacher from a background who has not used technology in the growing up years in schools or colleges, it will be a challenge to train that particular teacher. So my suggestion would be, or rather my observation has been, this situation which you say has turned teachers into technology gurus overnight probably is just a wake-up call that when the change is required, change. Wake-up call not only for teachers, it is a wake-up call for administrators, leaders, visionaries, managements, everybody. When you are selecting a teacher for your students, please do not take the teacher from this generation thinking pattern. Understand that this teacher would stay with you minimum 10 years and can go up to maximum 25 to 30 years. So you have to take a progressive teacher on board. Or you have to be a progressive institution and you need to continue to train your teacher on regular basis so that the demands are met on time, and then you are not forced to go into a situation where overnight things have to be.
Thanks, Niti. I'm going to bring in Sushma now. Sushma, with the pandemic times there, do you think, especially for preschools, where we've seen a huge surge across the country, where people have said, "Let's leave it. We'll start the next year with the learning. There's no need to go in." On the contrary, brain theory is saying that the brain will develop only till the age of 7. Every piece of learning is critical, and every stimulant is extremely critical. What are your views of how the education experiences are coming out for the preschool children?
Yeah, hi, happy noon, everyone. Pleasure to be here on this platform. Yes, Divya, that's a very valid point, I guess. I think all of us are parents first. So then we take the role of a teacher, educator, administrators, and whatever. So, and I also agree with all the other speakers who have put forth their points. I think all of us have gone through it, at least in these 9 months. Everything has become very topsy-turvy. And I would like to address this question right from the age from 0 to 18 years, especially. The child at birth, those children who are born during this COVID times, probably they wouldn't have seen many faces at all. So less of human interaction. So I really wonder how the child's psychosocial competencies will develop in this pandemic, and the fear of going out, gaining infection, getting infected, all that. Then I would like to move on to a preschooler. So by 2 years, 3 years, they would love to get out of the house and just step into the new world, explore the school environment, talk to new people, make friends and play. It's lost. And I think I have been seeing it in my own school that children all children, right from 2 to teens, all of them have become stagnant in their developmental lifespans. As our earlier speaker, Sharda ma'am put it, I think 3 years old, they've stopped exploring the environment. They're only addicted to screen and gadgets, pestering parents for mobile phones all the time. Then again, middle school and high schoolers, once they step into teens, that risk-taking, adrenaline rush, risk-taking behaviors have come down. They have nothing to explore or going out or meeting friends, socializing, dealing with peer group, peer competencies. So all these life skills have also taken a backseat during the pandemic, especially with adolescents, I can say. And again, the final year graduates missing on their final year of college days, which once upon a time, I think when we recollect, it was such a memorable journey for us, and there's lots to share and talk about our schooling and college days. But I really pity them for missing all this. So no matter what technology you give or gadgets or platforms they have, irrespective of gaming or quiz or any other virtual sports or anything they get involved to, but nothing can compromise on the physical environment, right? So other thing is, especially as a psychologist, what I can say is they are missing out on a lot of physical activities. So sticking to the gadgets all day, locked inside a room, not wanting to have a daily routine, proper food, proper sleep, appropriate routine according to the age, nothing is happening. So that again, probably not sure how it is going to affect once they get into that adulthood and going back to work or getting into a career. So all these have been affected.
Thank you, Sushma. I want to bring in Mr. Hiramat. I don't see him. Mr. S.J. Hiramat.
Mr. Hiramat, are you online? We're just checking with him, Ms. Lal.
No
maybe
worries.
you
In the
could-
meantime, let me go back to Niti. Niti, does this mean that I think over a period of time, while the India is gearing up for annual exams around March, schools are trying to do whatever they're online, they need to also create a space for a special piece of ensuring, some kind of a for the want of a better word, if I may use the word therapy, for children to actually get rehabilitated and maybe, create some physical environments of games, what people can all do in front of the cameras, and, maybe create discussion forums, fun forums, that bring in the aspects that might be going on the sideways because of only a very academic and push right now.
You are very right, Divya. Am I audible?
Yes, very much.
Right. So this is something that really needs to be looked into. At this time, I feel the school counselors or counselors on board should have been working extra time, not only for the students, also for the teachers and parents. Sadly, there have been incidents reported that there have been the number of suicides from the mothers of the students, if you take the statistics, have gone a little higher as compared to what it was when children were actually going to school. So when we talk about therapy, it is not only required for the student, it is also required for the family. It is also required for the teachers, which are facing a lot of situations at home and the online classes, and then how to adjust to it, because school administrations and the leaders are continuously rolling out notices and now do this, now do that, because it's an experimental stage. Nobody knows what to do. Everybody is experimenting, learning, implementing, and then learning again. So there's a lot of learning cycles happening again and again. So therapies are definitely required. I will cite my own example that whatever we had planned for the year, vis-a-vis the sports classes, library classes, music, dance, we have continued with that even online. So when we
And you
talked
feel
about
that has
assemblies,
really impacted to the well-being of the children and the teachers?
yes, because we did take a feedback. We take a feedback from our parents on monthly basis and students separately to understand how we are connecting with both and how the stakeholders are in line with each other. Probably student will give another feedback and the parent has something else to talk about it. Give the same set of questions with a bit of change to all the stakeholders to understand how the online classes are happening and where it is putting pressure and why is it putting pressure. So we continued with the same, and my suggestion would be to continue with that particular planning what we had done, assembly at a particular time, games, could be yoga, could be aerobics, could be a Zumba session, could be a rhythmic aerobics, something or the other to be conducted in front of the screen. Children may not, but at least they know that they have access to this. Then probably activities could be given from science teachers, social studies teachers, maths teachers, for children to go out of the house and then do some activity related to their surroundings. They may not be allowed to go somewhere else or travel long distance, but at least they can go in their own gardens or they can go around the colonies to understand if I have to collect a sample, or if I have, I have to do a work on herbs and shrubs, can I go to my garden or can I go to the garden nearby my house to collect a sample and show it on the screen? Giving
Thanks,
opportunities
Neeti. I'm going to
during the
just hold you
lessons.
there. I'm going to bring in Sushma now. Sushma, so initiatives and passion, obviously, children first always. So, there's a lot of passion that comes in. Do you think there's also time in some kind of a structure that we need to create now a breather for our educators? Because
Yes.
it's been a 24/7 run. If you look at the teachers, they're managing their households, they're teaching all day, preparing. So I mean, as school heads, and we're part of so many of these associations, etc., do you think this could also be a call to arms to kind of create a breather of 8-10 days, and maybe not just leave them, but maybe some part of the day we help them also kind of de-stress around, maybe do laughter therapy sessions online. I've seen many things that a lot of corporates are also doing, to keep the human element going, and letting people be. So unlike just planning exam day and the result day and the off day, why don't we, as heads and progressive heads of institutions, really come up with a week of rejuvenation, whatever can be done? What would be your thoughts, Sushma, on that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Divya. Basically, here at Periwinkle, I have already been working on this concept from the past 6 months, I can say. One thing, as Neeti ma'am suggested, having some live sessions. So we have alternatively, we are having online sessions where teachers come online, talk to kids, interact with them for the first 10 minutes of the session, then proceed with their concept learning and whatever. And like ma'am said, when we were talking about flowers and plants, we asked them to go out and collect a few of leaves and flowers and then show it to us. They can do some creative work and present it to us. Then as for teachers, I think now that we can move to school, so we are meeting in school a couple of days. So where we just, I'm there basically as a counselor. So just try and talk to them, ease their stress, let them vent out all their stress, then give them some self-awareness tips, keep them going on. Also train them on some positive mental health exercises so that they become aware of their emotions and feelings, and that doesn't pile up when they are online. As it is, they are not so used to it, and it's a challenge that they have been taking up and doing this. I really appreciate the teachers who are moved on to this online teaching without any background or training. They have been doing a great job, putting all their effort and hard work. So they do need a break from household chores and being in front of the camera, then again dealing with children in school. So
True,
yes,
Sushma. Yeah.
so that positive mental health training will help them manage all these things in the long run, I guess.
True, and I think it will take more than just some set of progressive heads of institutions and maybe some kind of mandated fields if we can create that space.
Yes.
A lot of
Yes.
times I feel that, we always use this work hard and play harder. I think somewhere we have to bring it to our educators, because when we are talking about engaging and enhancing the education experiences, I think it's very, very important to really look at the people who are creating those experiences.
Absolutely.
And because somewhere they are draining out. I mean, I've had the biggest salute for educators, because I think in one voice, India's teachers stood up and said, India will learn no matter what. And I
Yes.
think that's the spirit of the educators who have shown with their small phones, with whatever gadgets they could muster. They've stood up to the challenge, and we've really leapfrogged because of that entire space. People are thinking of different things. I want to bring in Neeti and also talk about, you know, uh, every time something happens, whether it is the weather or whether it's anything happening in your city, the first call of action is close the school.
School.
Right? Now that online learning has become like a part that everybody has gone more comfortable, the bigger question is, should we relook at the whole academic calendar itself? Why only 180 or 210 working days? And out of which also some get consumed off because of some regional stuff that keeps happening, or it's too cold, too hot, too much rain, or no rains at all, or whatever happens. What are your thoughts on it, Niti?
I would say bullseye. This is just what I had been pondering about. This thought has been going for a very long time, the flipped classroom concept. And if you see that we've been not only doing flipped classroom, we've been doing a flipped school altogether for the last 7-8 months. So the path forward should be not to dispense of the system that we have already created once we go offline again. Rather, work with a solution which goes hand in hand with the best of online experiences and the best offline. Forward 21, where we can actually go flip school. Online classes happen during the hours when the child is at home, and hands-on, complete hands-on to be given using the infrastructure at school that children had been craving for. So no more games periods taken off, no more library periods taken off, no more syllabus cribbing. This is going to be a golden period for education if we have managed to learn correct things out of this experience.
Great words, Niti, there. I want to bring in for some closing comments, Sushma. You said parents first. We are all parents first. What would be your one word, especially to parents of school children? That what should they do when they talk about their child's education when they're at home?
I think the school.
I somehow can't hear you, Sushma. Can you hear me?
Okay, I think we
Yeah, I
need to
can.
we need to psycho-educate parents when they come in for admissions and have some orientation programs, because even otherwise, it's not the first day. It'll be like children attending the first day of their school once it becomes offline altogether post-COVID. So that is where we'll have to start from square one. So time that the teachers, parents, and administrators, all of us need to look at that and bring in a balance of educating the parents and sensitizing the teachers to go through the whole process of adjusting and adapting to the new structure again, and give a lot of time for children to settle down. Earlier, it used to be a month or so they would settle down. Probably now, I think they'll take longer time to settle down.
Okay, thanks, Sushma. Thanks, Neeti. I want to close this panel by just saying, I think engaging and enhancing education experiences not only requires the creativity of the educators who create it or the people from the administration who bring in platforms where such things can get created. I think what will also be very important is how well we take care of the people who are creating these experiences, the educators themselves, the children who are at different stages. And I loved what Niti said. Can we create the most of this new age that we can look at of using digital models that can really bring holistic learning? Thank you so much, ladies. It was a pleasure to have both of you with us. And Nisha, over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lal, for driving this session. It's really been engaging. And to our panelists, Ms. Neeti and Ms. Shushma, thank you for your inputs here. Unfortunately, Mr. Hiremat couldn't join us because he had a medical emergency to attend to. I would like to open the floor for questions, if any, before we end today's session. Again, you can click on that, raise your hand button on your screen, or you could type it out. We have great panelists and speakers, here today, so please feel free to ask any questions. Well, Ms. Bharati is asking, when is preschool likely to open physically? Anyone who will pick up that question?
Sushma, you would like to share?
Not till October, I guess, in spite of the vaccine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have.
I think, Nisha, we can close it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And just before we sign off, again, if you have any questions for SchoolNet India or FlipLearn Education Solutions, please feel free to contact us, the Education Experiences team, via WhatsApp or email. We would be happy to set up a one-on-one session with our partners, SchoolNet India and FlipLearn Education. So thank you once again, speakers, partners, and attendees for your time. You have a great day and look forward to having you all once again for our future events. And stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh.